So we have a new DJI firmware and flight update for the Mini 4 Pro and the DJI Neo. Have we got any new features now on this DJI Neo? Have they actually fixed some of the little issues that we have with this really good drone? But there's also a few new bugs on the Mini 4 Pro as well in this update. So let's get into it. So with this update, you get DJI FLY version 1.14.2. So there's a few different ways of how you'll be able to get this now. So if you have the DJI Neo and you don't have a controller, you can update your DJI FLY app on your phone. If you have the DJI Neo with the RC2 controller, then you can actually update it directly through the RC2. And if you have a Mini 4 Pro, nothing's changed, just update that again through the RC2. So a few different ways of actually updating it. Once you actually turn these drones on, you turn your control on, you'll get an update on the screen saying new firmware, just hit update and away you go. So what does it actually bring? Well, it actually says on the screen that this fixes some known issues. Now, this is a really new drone. There isn't many issues really about it. There isn't a lot of new features been added. Now, what DJI class as fixes known issues is issues that like a customer has reported directly to them. So it could be issues with the drone, the camera, the app crashing, major things like that. And then if you actually are one of them people who have been having issues with your drone with like quite major issues, then that should hopefully resolve it for you. So any problems that you've had with your DJI Neo, just go and update this to this latest fly and firmware update. So I'm going to test the DJI Neo first, controller free, using literally just the DJI FLY app on my phone. This is still like my preferred way of flying this, although it is limited, which I'm going to talk to you about, but this is the way I'm going to be using it. But what's great to see that actually has improved with this DJI firmware update is that if you use the DJI RC2, this is supported now with the Mini 4 Pro, the DJI Neo and the DJI Air 3. So you can have one controller and actually fly all of these three drones on the one controller, which is great if you own multiple drones, you go on a trip, you don't have to take several controllers with you, but it also now switches seamlessly between each drone. Normally, say for instance, I was connected to that Mini 4 Pro. If I turn the Mini 4 Pro off, I want to connect to the DJI Neo. I have to actually select DJI Neo on here. It would then search for it, probably wouldn't find it. You would have to then put it into pairing mode. Then after about 30 seconds or a minute, it would pair. And then you have to do that every single time you want to switch to one of these different drones. Now it's like seamlessly. So you can go from the Mini 4 Pro, you turn that off, you just click connection guide, it will automatically find the DJI Neo and connect to it without any pairing. So that is so much better now. And that's improved with this firmware update. Now, also before a lot of you ask, I haven't actually been up all night, especially with all these new products coming out. I wouldn't blame myself, but I have actually got really bad hay fever. That's why I probably sound and look a little bit different on this video. But anyway, so first off, when just flying the DJI Neo with your controller, one slight issue that I would like to be resolved is that this has 22 gigabytes of internal storage. So you can't add any storage to this, but 22 gigabytes is like okay, but if you're filming in 4K 30, that's going to fill up really fast. The problem is that when you're actually connecting to this drone and you're going off flying, on the screen itself, there is no like indicator about how much storage you've used, how much you've got left. So you'll see in this shot here, I literally had it on my palm. It was just about to take off. And then as it takes off and it starts self-recording, storage full. And there's nothing to actually warn you about this. So again, you've then got to bring this drone back. You've then got to go into your drone's album. You've got to look at the things that you want to delete off the drone and think, have I actually transferred that? Is that a good clip? It's just wasting time and battery life as well. Some kind of indicator, a percentage screen on the actual drone on the Fly app would certainly help. That's just me moaning a little bit, but the more we moan, the more we say, the more firmware updates we'll get on this drone. So fixes known issues. One of the actual kind of issues was relating to the tracking. Now when this drone tracks you, a lot of these drones, they want to just track you from behind. It's easier for them to track you from behind than certainly the front, where it kind of like doesn't really want to. It always wants to try and default to the back. I have noticed in this new firmware update now, the tracking is 20% better. So when it is tracking you, it does stay locked onto you and will track you in direction track a lot better from the front now. So that's good to see. And also once the drone is tracking you, you can click on this controller icon and you can actually have some control of this drone whilst it's tracking you. So you can actually increase the altitude of this drone and get more of a higher shot, or decrease it for that lower angle as well. What I would really like to see, and what unfortunately we don't have on this update yet, I thought we may have done, is the ability that you can actually have it above you and have the camera panning right down to get a fantastic top-down shot. We almost can. You can almost get a top-down shot, but it's not completely there. The composition is not there just yet, but I'm sure that can happen. It just needs a little bit more tweaking. And I've also noticed when it is tracking you, if you go into settings, you can actually control that height and distance of how it's going to actually follow you. So you can have it quite close to you, you can have it a bit further away. Now notice when I first got this drone, when it was actually selected to track from far and high, it wouldn't be very far and high at all. Now it is slightly higher, I would say a meter higher than it was before. And unfortunately, this firmware update doesn't bring the option to actually lower this sharpness when using the DJI FLY app. You can do it on the controller, we still don't have it on here, and that would help so much. It's something literally I do as soon as I move onto the RC2, which let's do that now. So when you actually use the RC2, this is great. We have pretty much the same DJI FLY app and functions as the Mini 4 Pro if you're used to that. That's great. So we can actually change the return to home altitude. So we can go up to 120 meters where it's locked. We can also go and actually set the max distance, the max height. But you do have so many more features when using a controller, whether it's the RC2 or the N3 controller. Now, I've been through all these settings and it doesn't seem that anything is new, anything's been added since the release date of this. So this is still a lot better than using just the DJI FLY app on your phone. So I can go to the camera settings and I can actually change that noise reduction and the sharpness. So I turn it right down. So I have -2 for the sharpness, and then the noise reduction, I'm having it at -1, because sometimes noise reduction, it will also add sharpness as well. So just have that -1, just turn it all down. But I have noticed as well, in tracking, Spotlight is much better now when using this controller. So you can just drag a box around an object, it will actually lock onto it now so much better. When we first got this, the actual tracking was good, but it would lose it quite a few times in Spotlight. It's now much better with this firmware update. And return to home works great. So it actually will now automatically, as soon as you actually click on the button, click on the screen, the drone will increase your set altitude and return back to your location. And that seems to like activate now quicker as well. Everything's just like a little bit snappier, a bit faster, which is great to see. Now, it isn't as accurate as other drones. As you see on the screen here, it's not super close to me, but it's only like a couple of meters out, and I would rather have that than nothing. And talking of nothing, if you don't use a controller, as I mentioned on my previous DJI Neo video, so if you're using the DJI FLY app on your phone and the DJI Neo, return to home is not there. So you need to be really careful. If you're not using a phone and you're just using this, there's no return to home. Return to home only exists when you're using a controller. So we'll put the DJI Neo aside there. Let's have a look at the Mini 4 Pro. So what's actually new on this? If I was you, I would probably just skip out on this if you just have this drone. The DJI Neo 100% makes it fly a lot better, the app's better, so everything's kind of like improved slightly with that. But with the Mini 4 Pro, some weird bugs. So in video, everything's working okay, but as soon as I selected photos, I'm getting this storage full icon here. Now my storage isn't full. I've got the memory card in here with like 20-30 gig of storage left. And this storage full icon, it's just like there. Now, it's not the end of the world. I know, but it's just some weird bug. But also, you need to be super careful. Now, I'm always saying to you in all of these different Fly updates, make sure before, every single time you actually update one of these firmware, you go through your settings and you check that everything is actually set up correctly, because sometimes in firmware, it can reset them. It can give you weird things going on. And it certainly has. This is a great occasion and example of this. So when I'm actually going under my settings, I look, and my return to home altitude is 500 meters. I'm like, what? So just imagine that. You're flying your drone, it disconnects. It's then going to rise up to 500 meters, well over the legal limit. So this is something that I've never set. This has been set since this firmware update. So if we go down to the max altitude on the settings, you'll see that's at 500 meters as well. Super important to go through and check all of these settings before you go off and fly, because a lot of them in a firmware update can get reset. So the Mini 4 Pro in relation to the actual photos, videos, everything's working great as it was before. Return to home, we'll do a quick test on here. You can see just how accurate it is with return to home as well. But overall, if I had the Mini 4 Pro just for these like weird bugs, it doesn't bring you anything else. I probably wouldn't bother updating this. There's no need if you're on the previous one. This is more so if you have the DJI Neo and you had any major problems with that, any issues with your software, or just basically it gives you some improvements in relation to that, to tracking and also overall speed and performance of the app. And don't forget, I've also got my Mini 4 Pro cheat sheets. These are still in stock. They are at quite low numbers now, but for the Mini 4 Pro only at the moment. These are a physical copy, get shipped to you worldwide, and these go through all of the different settings, how to get the very most out of this drone, how to actually go from a beginner to pro. Just in this book here, tells you everything. It's all like really nice, high quality prints, all color coded in different sections as well. So go and check these out. I'll link these at the top of the description. Also on there, you'll find digital versions of them and also LUTs as well for the Mini 4 Pro and pretty much every DJI drone. So thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic weekend and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.